Peace to you wherever you are in the world, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to talk about ways to finish off necklines. For today, I'm just going to show you three. So you have a V and a bias tape as well as a slit V-neck. So first of all, we start off with a bias strip finish. This bias strip is folded once and not the enclosing type, so this is one we're going to use in this particular case. So the open side is going to lay on the wrong side of the fabric. You're going to pin all around the neckline. When you do it this way, the bias tape is going to show on the right side, so it's going to be like facing towards the right side of your fabric. So when you're wearing the cloth, it's actually going to show on the front. We're going to sew this down, or rather sew it together. So for this particular style, since you're going to enclose the seam, make sure you cut it to the smallest possible and you make slits. Since it's a curve, make sure you make slits so that the seam can lie flat. You can fold it like this, which is how we're going to do it, or you can as well fold the seam inside by enveloping the seam and then closing it forward and stitching on top. So you will have a smaller part of the bias tape will be showing and the seam will be enclosed by the bias strip. So you have options with this style. But in my case, I decided I'll just go with enveloping everything and just having the whole strip show on the right side instead of enveloping. Once you're done sewing, of course, it's always advisable that you iron the seam down so it can lie flat. And that's done, and there you go. Then the second type is the slit v-neck. This is actually one of my favorite ways to finish, and you can find this type like on the scrubs that the medical people wear, all those doctors and nurses. You find this in their hospital gowns and their uniforms. You don't need to use a bias on this one, you can just use a regular straight strip and then fold it into half, and the folded side should be facing you and the open side should be the one that you sew to make the seam. After pinning everything down, I'm now going to go to the sewing machine and sew as I have pinned there. While sewing the two sides, sew all the way to the corner and do not go farther down, just to the corner. Once this is done, I'm going to make slits on the two sides. To where one corner to where the stitch goes, or rather where the stitch reaches, and then to the other side I do the same thing. So I'm going to slit the corners, and make sure not to cut the stitch, because once you cut the stitch, then you know you've messed up your work. So just cut to the corner on that one side and then cut to the other corner on the other side, as nearest as possible to where you stitched. This way you won't have like a bulging effect on the front once you lay down the v-neck. So I turn everything to the other side and then stitch together. As you can see, the collar is already showing. I'm in the neck. So I'm going to sew this part here together. And then I'm going to cut off the excess. So this part here, as I'm showing you, stitch it down flat, then cut off the excess. You can use a serger as well. Of course, serger will always give you a neat finish. And there you have it, finished and serged all the seams. So I'm going to turn it around and then I'm going to top stitch. This secures the seam and so it doesn't become a bother to whoever is wearing it. Always poking on your chest, so you lie flat and comfortable. And after this is done, I'm now going to go and iron it flat as well to have that neat finish. And there you have it, a nice and flat slit v-neck. On to the next one, which is the v-neck, the ordinary normal v-neck. So using two pieces, make sure they look as close and the patterns are aligned as possible, and then you're going to put them under the v-neck with the right sides facing each other. So put it under the v-neck and then you're going to draw make sure everything is aligned and everything is straight, and put it exactly where you would want your v to fall. Then after this, you're going to draw the outline of the V. After you've finished that, use your ruler and make sure everything is straight. Use a ruler to highlight the line, so making sure that everything is straight so you know exactly where to stitch. So make sure you stitch on the line where you have drawn. That is the purpose of drawing the line. After stitching, you will cut like so, leaving very little allowance. And then at the actual pointed part, you're going to cut as close as possible to the pointed part, but make sure not to cut the stitch so you don't have a hole. See, slit. Then you're going to open the seam. Once you open both sides, then you put them together to create the V, as so. So you put them together, and when you turn to the right side, as you can see, it creates a V. Now on my fabric, on my neckline, I'm going to stitch down the V. So the first thing I do is make sure the V part on the, you pin the V part to the V part on the fabric. Make sure they align. You can use a pin like this and put it together. So this will serve as a guideline for you so that you know exactly where the V part is, so they can align perfectly. I'm going to stitch this down. When you get to the middle of the V, make a slit towards the V part and then slide it as so. This will enable you to stitch it easier and along the line. So this really makes the job easier for you, and then you're going to continue stitching. Once you're done, you can finish off the seams with a serger and then iron flat to have the V. And there you have it, all done. Those are the 3 types of neckline finishes, and I'll be showing you more in future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.